Hello and welcome to Thingness.
This podcast is one part of our domestic microgallery. In each of these episodes, we sit down with our current exhibitor and talk about objects, things, and collecting in relation to exhibiting outside of white cube norms. We are Hannah
And Martin, and today we are joined by Rachel Barron.
Hello.
Welcome.
You're our first ever artist back in Sweden.
It's a pleasure.
Very exciting. So Thingness has relocated. We're in a new flat in Gothenburg, which is very exciting. And yes, you're our first guest. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and about your practice?
Yeah, I'm an artist from Glasgow. Moved to Sweden in 2014 to study the Masters in Fine Art at Vårgårda. So as an artist, I work mostly with site-specific installation, sometimes within exhibitions, sometimes within public artworks. Since leaving Vårgårda, I would say I don't have so much of a studio practice, probably not by choice, but instead I work mostly with often facilitating the creativity of other people, which is something I also care about a lot. And that can be working with children in workshops or school lessons, but also within the art space that's me and Nathan, husband and
Partner in life and crime.
Yeah, exactly.
As me and Martin like to call ourselves.
Exactly. So that has also taken up a big part of our life right now, is establishing this meeting place for art and design. So there hasn't been so much space or time for sustaining any sort of studio practice, but I think it's coming. And I think the thing that I'm really happy about with being part of Thingness this time is that this is somehow kick-starting my studio practice, because my studio is almost constructed as well on site.
I remember visiting like a year ago or something and seeing it,
Yeah, we're converting a barn, so now we're living in the countryside. We're converting a barn, and this started 2.5 years ago, starting to make my studio. I think the original time scale was 3 weeks, and it's now 2.5 years later, and it's almost finished. So
it's a beautiful space.
Yeah, it's going to be worth it. So, but being part of Thingness has made me look through basically a storage unit where all my art materials and small fragments of process and things since I've moved to Sweden have been tucked away. So it's made me, in a way, remember a bit like who I am and what I'm interested in, and kind of just pulled together small pieces from so many different projects or times in the past 10 years of
I've been saying while you've been installing this last couple of days that it feels a little bit like we're having a mini retrospective of your Swedish art career so far.
But like
a little collection of processes and exhibitions.
Yeah, but also mostly the unseen parts, the colour samples or the pieces that are left behind. Like it could be negative shapes or positive shapes, I suppose it is, that's cut out from something that I made, or stamps, like toolkits, or I don't know, just like the pieces that I would never have normally
thought
considered.
To use.
Like seeing potential in things. I think it's always, as an artist, like the pressure of making something new, and I always sort of tie myself to making something site specific. In a way, this still was site specific because it was for a specific shelf, and I definitely took inspiration from the concept of thingness and collecting and stuff, but try not to say the word things too much.
But it's also interesting what things is. It's funny. It comes off.
But yeah.
And actually, on that note, before we get too much into what's in the shelf, which is incredibly interesting, let's ask what we always ask our guests, which is, what is your relationships to things, objects, and collecting? Which I think is also very interesting, like you just said, in this relationship, in this like reference in a way to the fact that you've gone through everything that you have collected in a sense.
Exactly.
But anyway, you don't have to start with that.
Yeah, I could start more generally that I don't think I collect so many things, but I do have a similar shelf in my own house where I collect
Yes, I love
small
yours.
ornaments and trinkets, which for some reason, I think it kind of reminds me of my gran, because she used to have a lot of small ornaments and things in her house, and some of them have come from her house.
But did she have them in a shelf?
No, I love these shelves. I think I love order and organising and systems, and I think my mum told me one of my first big words as a small child was categorise.
No.
Yeah, because that's what I was very much like. I'd empty a drawer and I'd put everything back in an order. So I think, that's very me, whereas the actual
creating structure.
Yeah, creating structure and systems, and I love all that. But yeah, apart from that, things like shells and rocks and stuff, I love collecting stuff like that. But I am from a household of collectors, maybe even hoarders. So I think I always search for more kind of minimal ordered spaces and things. It's something that I crave, I think, maybe as a sort of reaction to that. But in general, I think, I've almost like proved to myself that I do like collecting things because of what I've actually made in the exhibition. Yeah. Everything from, I'd say, material samples and colour samples. In a way, I would say collecting colours, because it's something that happens to me all the time as I go through colour phases. Like I'll, just without even realising it, I'll become obsessed with one colour, and then suddenly I'll realise I've got like a water bottle in that colour, then it's in my artwork, then it's in like my diary colour that I choose, and like I go through
tropical birds that like collect all the things blue or whatever.
And then it like rotates in different phases. Like recently I think it was more like lilac, and then but it's been things like kind of aqua, green, usually quite bright.
I lived through my mother's light green phase. Last 5 years.
Talking of that, actually, I have to say, when I was 9 or 10 years old, when my sister was born, I went through a complete obsession with the colour lime green.
Really?
And I had to have absolutely everything lime green. It was the period of inflatable furniture. I'm presuming you had that as well. So I had like lime green inflatable sofa, lime green hat, lime green clothes, lime green everything, lime green toys. I mean, I don't know what. I think I was going through a crisis because I just got a baby sister. But anyway, so colour.
But colours, I mean, it was, you came to install yesterday and then you've come back to kind of finish off today, and me and Martin, we were having a talk afterwards. We were looking at all the colours, and Martin, you said something really interesting, that like you were thinking that there was too much colour in the shelf, but we really see it as like it was, I can't remember exactly what you said, it was...
I mean, I didn't see it as like, I read a little note.
Oh, you did?
As like, I mean, it's very... Like, it's difficult to describe the shelf, like, just look at the picture. But like, it's very, like, I wouldn't say clutter, but it's like, it is intense, like, there's a lot of things. But it's also very neat. Very, like orderly, very, like there's some sort of... So I wrote this little note. It's not collecting in a traditional sense, but little self-referential systems or orders or categories of a particular or certain tactile materiality. You know?
So that's a beautiful description. Take that for your artist statement.
I love it. Yeah.
But I was thinking more, I mean, it's beautiful what you just said, but I was trying to remember more, you said something yesterday about the fact that, like, in a way, those colours, it's like a portrait of Rachel. It was something that you said about that, and there's something I think that you as an artist, I think as someone looking at your work, your colours, they really represent you. It's like there's some sort of identity that is like woven through each of your artworks and art kind of practice. So it's like...
You have there's a dark side of this coin.
Oh, go on then.
I mean, in like, not in this case, but like in people who, for example, like do portraits of others, or like in drawing, but like before they get better at like, you know, sort of capturing their subject, they usually kind of like subconsciously project or like superimpose their own image, because that's the image they've seen the most, like in the mirror or whatever. So like you draw a face and like you draw someone else's face, but you cannot draw your own nose. onto that face, you know, for example.
Because
Or like the
that's what you've
shape or
seen
whatever, the
most.
shape of the, yeah, exactly. But here is a nice thing, you know, because it's like it's not bound by that.
But wait, so are you saying that you are seeing things in the work, like you're projecting your own interest in colour onto Rachel's colours?
Oh man, yeah, of course, but like I'm just thinking like artistic practices in general.
Oh,
you
like
know?
a reflection
Yeah,
of yourself.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely think or say that my colour choices are usually a reflection of me. I've been trying, like typically it is, I think I'm kind of known for pastel kind of vibrant colours, but I've been trying, when we're doing the factory renovation, I've been really trying to challenge myself. Like I like to take colours from the site or the places that I'm working with. So like usually I come with my Pantone swatch book.
She's holding up a beautiful,
which is one of my favourite things that I actually inherited from a job that I used to work at, a cake shop actually.
Really? They had a Pantone swatch at a cake shop?
Well, it's a long story.
It's for all the decorations, no?
Yeah, well, it was actually, the shop ended up closing down, and this was left
Because they mixed
by
paint
a
into
customer.
the cakes.
No, somebody who was a graphic designer ordered a Pantone cake, and they brought in this colour swatch, but then the shop was closing down, so they were emptying out the entire shop, and I inherited this. Yeah, because no one else wanted or saw any use, but this became like one of my absolute favourite things, and it's something I take everywhere. So any project I do, I take this swatch book because I want to kind of match colours around me. So the colour of certain doors or windows or pieces of the architecture, and then trying to figure out what colours could work well in a space.
Oh, interesting.
But it's all quite intuitive, I would say. My colour choices, that's what I would say. Yeah, so but in the factory I'm trying to choose more earthy colours, you could say, which is something I don't normally choose at all, like browns and greens that are not these vibrant rainbow colours. So I have had to challenge myself, but it's also quite, I feel like it fits best. Space.
Yeah,
again, but
it grounds it to the landscape as well.
But then you're still working to the site, which is kind of...
exactly, and that's what I think is most important.
Well, then coming more into the Thingness shelf, how was it then to respond to the... Let's start maybe with the colour of the shelf. How was it to respond to the dark wood?
Yeah, well, now that I've been working with brown tones and stuff in the factory, I actually absolutely love those kind of colours now. So I think it's actually sort of in a way forced me to change what I like, but I've been there for 5 years and working with these colours, or trying to, for 5 years now, so I feel like I love now the colour like dark brown and dark wood.
It's maybe also worth mentioning that we recently renovated the shelf.
You did.
Yeah,
you did a lovely job.
We sanded it and oiled it again, and that always makes it a little bit darker. So
it fits very well into its new site, yes, with the table. Do you want to speak a little bit about, I mean, we mentioned earlier on in this episode that, you know, the things that you've brought to put in the shelf have been kind of like this collection of old projects. Do you want to kind of mention maybe in a way, like, not maybe what some of those projects are, but in a way how what the leftovers of them were that you've brought along?
Yeah, there's actually so many different things in there. Some things that come to mind are, I mean, of course, there's these like colour samples. Like, so I've taken apart these colour swatches or material swatches, like acrylic, plastic, like Perspex, for example, and light filters, which is actually one thing that I integrated for the first time was the name of these swatches, so like the title, because they all have really amazing names.
We were reading through them,
Yeah, like this one was called Loving Amber. So that became, I decided to actually include that within one of the shelves and make that the title.
Could also be like the title of some cheesy
Pulp
Fiction
Fiction
romance novel.
That was, and then there's things like small parts from an exhibition that I did fairly recently at Temporary Stabilisations Gallery in Gothenburg. which is actually fragments of the architecture or features within the architecture from a building at Ness, Venhem. So it's like they had these amazing ornamental windows within this veranda room. So that's actually the way I made these shapes, was by extracting that pattern or that shape and deconstructing it to form different smaller shapes that I then use to make printing blocks from, or like ink stamps. So there's and laser cut into different shapes that I placed around the installation. So I I integrated some of those. There are sort of cogs or parts from an old printing device that I designed to facilitate the making of prints, because I work a lot with pattern as well.
It's funny you mentioning cogs, because
yeah,
as you were building this like exhibition, it was it calmed down, or whatever you could say now. But like it was quite chaotic when you were constructing it, and I got this like almost like nostalgic like vibe from when I was a kid, and I played this like game on the computer called like The Incredible Machine. Do you know this?
No.
So this is this game where you like...
Oh no, but you told me, but I remember.
Yeah, you have all these like little machine parts, and then you connect them with like rubber bands and cogs and things, and then like the end like goal is like to get like a metal ball from one corner of the map to the other, or something like that, you know? So it's like one of these perpetual sort of motion thingies.
It's funny though, you say it was chaotic, because I didn't find it chaotic at all. I find the way that you worked installing here was totally my way of approaching an installation. You know, that you brought all your things, all your objects, all this collection, and then you played around with the site.
Yeah, like the order kind of like grew out of that.
So for me it felt very intuitive and very, it was so wonderful to see all of your like bits and bobs. I love all these words my mum says, like bits and bobs, thingamajigs. What was that great one I learned in Swedish the other day? Mojäng, which is a word for that.
I've heard that.
So it's so interesting, I think, to see all these things from an artist, and I think what you've ended up kind of leaving in a way in our shelf is like a very nice overview of all of these bits and bobs. And what was it after you left yesterday? I said to Martin that it's like what is it? It's like a fun, like you have lots of, it's like fun office supplies. Now, what was the way I said about it? It was like an exhibition of, I can't remember the phrase I used, but
but that's like, you know, sort of, kind of like, you know, you go into like any like, you know, art store, like hardware store, stationery, and you go like, oh, that looks nice. Oh, yeah, I could use that. I don't really have a use for that. It's like I shouldn't really buy that, or like, you know.
Yeah, there's definitely things like that I collect actually, like stickers, like just normal round circular stickers in different sizes. I've always collected that actually. And at one point I've ordered it sometimes for workshops, and I've ordered like 50,000
But then it's funny because I love how you use them. I think it's something that, like, I don't know, other people, you might not be sure how to kind of bring them into a work, because it feels like it's something already, it feels like it's already a thing. If we're thinking about things again, it feels like it's already a thing, but somehow you manage to repurpose and reuse
that's just like
these
the
materials. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In a way, it's like we were talking yesterday about how we work with materiality, and that in a way, me and you, we both work, I mean everybody I think works with materiality, but the way that you work with it is in a very different kind of approach. I think it's really interesting that you like find a material and then you want to find a way to use it or something. Like these shiny things that you have, and like the glass magnifying bits, and
it's always trying to figure out how different materials interact, or like how they interact with light, or how they interact with each other. And I love the effect when like two maybe perforated materials, when you sort of move them over one another, and it creates this sort of
moire effect.
I love things like that. So I would say
But also this like, you know, the pairing of colors, and like, you know, when you add another one like a tertiary thing, it becomes this like, you know, Joseph Albert sort of like homage to the square.
Which is funny because you mentioned Joseph Albert yesterday, and I know that Annie Albert is a big influence of yours.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I've got a good poster of hers up in our house, and followed. I like both of their work, definitely.
It's very educational.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably maybe that appeals to me then in that sense. Yeah.
Well, that was a very nice flow over, because we started talking about references. I'm going to do a very nice bridge from, we used Annie and Joseph Albers. Let's go into what you would like to add to our bibliography.
Yes.
Maybe that was too
so
cheesy.
Yeah, I think it mostly connects to the idea of collecting colours, and a book that I got quite recently, which is almost like a different version of this Pantone colour swatch book that I've had for a long time. This one is a collection of colour combinations, a very beautiful book that I got from Nathan as a present actually. So let's see if I can see. It's a dictionary of colour combinations, and it says, let's see if I can pronounce her names.
Maybe Martin can.
Yeah.
Because it's a Japanese book.
Yeah, Sanzo Wada.
Sanzo Wada. A collection of 348 colour combinations originated by Sanzo Wada. And I think Nathan told me that it was they've extracted colour combinations from things like kimonos or things that already exist. But it's a really good way of not just finding one colour, but finding colours that already kind of go together. So I've used it when we're doing design projects and things, and I have to put forward a colour scheme for like a room or something. But
there's some really lovely, like we were saying when we were looking through it, there's some beautiful, quite like unsurprising colour coordinations, maybe things that you wouldn't...
Yeah, there's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Kind of. It's just a good way of, it's things that I wouldn't normally put together. Like it's again a lot of more brown or earthy tones like mixed in with the bright tones. And this is my kind of reading. Like just reading.
I just like a picture.
Colour swatches. I don't really have.
But it's funny because I don't know why, but there's something so satisfying at looking at just colours, even looking through your Pantone thing. It's like I mean you're reading, you're just looking at colours, but there's something so pleasing in a way of thinking. I think it's because you automatically start to think, which of these do I want? Again, it becomes this like, I want something in that clothing. I want to paint my room that colour. There's something of like wanting maybe to take on that colour yourself, like to collect it, or like, it's funny in a way, colours, everybody in the world has a connection in some way to a certain colour.
Exactly. Can be very sentimental, I think, as well, or like associated to different memories or times in your life.
Well, I think on that note, we will say thank you so much, Rachel, for coming, being in Thingness, and for this lovely discussion.
And for putting some colour on our wall.
And for putting some colour in our new apartment. It's going to be wonderful to live with now for the next month or so.
Yeah, thank you from me for the opportunity to make something, because it's not something that I have the chance to do and in my everyday life. Although I am working as an artist, I always say I am, but in terms of like playing and studio time and things like that right now, it's just been really fun to reconnect with that side.
That's
what
great.
I do.
It's wonderful we can provide this space in a way.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you for listening. This was Thingness.